Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I have a great show tonight, two great people. My name's Karen Buechs. I'm the host for the evening, and I think this hour is going to fly by. It's an important issue that we all care about. So let me start my introduction. Please welcome Peter Balboni from Pioppi's Liquors, the owner-proprietor, and our wonderful selectman, Charlie Bletzer.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you very much for having us.
Oh, thank you for coming on. I know you've never been to PAC TV before.
I have not.
Yes, well, let's make a habit of it. And
Glad
Charlie has been here many times. Yeah. Don't you sit on the board, Charlie?
Yes, I do, and I'm so happy that I'm on it because it's such an important piece in our community. You know, the PAC TV.
Information.
Information, yeah. They're great. They do a great job here.
Well, tonight's subject is the NIP proposed ban. And the date of that vote is Saturday, January 13th. And it's such an important vote for you to get out and make your voice known. Now, this NIP ban, it's really not about NIPs, is it?
No, it isn't.
Depends who you talk to.
Yeah.
So.
To me, it's a subject about freedom, about being able to purchase what I want. Not that I purchase NIPs, but I don't want to stop the next person from doing so. And why do people buy NIPs, Peter?
Well, there's a lot of reasons why people buy NIPs, and the majority of the people who buy NIPs do not get in their car, drive around town, get drunk, and throw them out their window. They're actually responsible members of the community. And like I said, there's many reasons. One reason could be they're visiting Plymouth and staying in a hotel. They want to get something to bring back. Another reason would be that they're going on a trip and they want to take them with them. Or they're at their house. They want to just have one drink or two drinks, and they might have a family member that has a drinking issue or a problem, so they don't want it in their house. So therefore, they might just buy one or two. But the majority of people, they don't litter. A few people litter, yes, and that's a problem. But really, the most important reason why people buy NIPs is for self-regulation, to monitor themselves, to control what they consume. So if they have a drinking problem, or again, if they have somebody in the house with a drinking problem, they don't want to buy a big bottle. They want to have, they know if they buy a big bottle, they'll drink it all.
They'll drink it.
So they just buy one or two to control themselves.
Right. Yep. Thank you for that answer. I didn't think of that last one. That's a very good answer. I talked to someone today, Charlie, that said, well, I'll just buy a pint. And didn't another town try this, and now they're finding pints?
Yes.
And it makes the person drink more?
Yes.
It's if I can interject.
Sure.
This issue is, you know, as an elected official, a lot of elected officials don't get involved in controversial issues. But I'm not one of those elected officials that does that. I'm a principal guy.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Charlie.
And the reason why I'm involved is what's next, okay? You know, the proponents of this bill came before us. And I voted against, and I'll tell you why. First of all, 2 years ago, it came before us. And it was proposed by the town manager, or this board, I'm sorry, one of the board members proposed this. So I looked into it, the issue. I had looked in before I voted.
Sure.
And what I found is it's not going to stop littering. which is, these are the three things. It's going to stop. It's going to stop the littering. It's going to curve drunk driving, and it will promote alcoholism. So I looked into it. Number one, I live on a main street. People that litter are going to litter, and I pick up.
Anyway,
I pick up items on my front lawn, but it's Coke cans, beer cans. Yeah, I get a nip once in a while, but it's predominantly fast food cups,
right.
lottery tickets,
Lottery
things like
tickets.
that. The nips are just a small portion of what I pick up. As far as drinking and driving, if an alcoholic or anybody that wants to drink and drive and throw it out the window, if they can't get nips, they'll buy a half pint or a pint.
Right.
And if they're litterers, they'll
And
throw it
that's
out the window.
4 times the amount.
The
And
amount.
And
They
an
would have
alcoholic will not drink, if you buy 2 nips, it's a couple ounces. 8 ounces is a half pint, and they will drink that. They will drink that 8 ounces. The
In
third-
one sitting.
Yeah. The third thing is about promoting alcoholism. I don't know how nips do that. I'm confused about that, because if you can't get nips, you're going to buy pints. It's alcoholics are alcoholics. They're going to get their alcohol, and if they want nips, they'll go to the neighboring towns. We have Kingston right next door. You got 2 or 3 liquor stores,
That's right.
and they're going to go right over the line and go to Kingston, and they'll still buy. But the other thing too is I'm going to say, those are the things that it's not doing. The things that this nip ban will do, and the reason why I'm against it, I'm a pro-business, because when I ran on economic development. I wanted to promote economic development, to get some commercial tax revenue to stabilize our residential tax. Commercial right now pays 8% of the budget. We need commercial tax to so we can stabilize our residential taxes. I don't think we're never going to lower them, but at least if we get more commercial, we get to stabilize it. This ban will hurt liquor stores, and Pete, I'm going to let Peter talk in a minute, and he can tell you those numbers.
Okay.
But it's people, if they're going to buy nips, they're going to go to Bourne or Kingston, and they not only going to buy their nips, but they're going to buy their beer, their wine, and other alcohol.
They're there. They're going to buy it all.
They're going to lose customers.
Right.
And that, to me, it's anti-business. It's hurting our local business owners. And that's why I'm against it. And, I've talked to a lot of people in town, a lot of restaurant. I'm very close with all the restaurant owners. They're all against it. And they're all saying, what's next?
What's
what is
next?
It? And it's always, the liquor industry, the restaurants I can speak for, they want to ban straws. There's all kinds of things that are affecting the already strapped restaurants. And they're really getting tired of this.
Rules and regs. Yeah.
So, but it really affects the liquor stores. Peter will give you the stats.
Good.
So
Yeah.
that's why if anybody thinks that there'll be no nips in Plymouth because there's a ban, you're wrong. You're going to get them. They're going to come back. And I'll tell you, littering is, we can talk about later, but I hate littering.
Me
Hate it.
too.
And that's a problem. But this ban is not going to do the things they're telling everybody it's going to do. So, and we can talk about recyclables later
Okay.
and all that, but
Yeah.
I'll let Peter show
So
you
what
to
are
talk
the
about the
numbers?
numbers.
Yes, the numbers are anywhere from 15 to 30% of the revenue for these liquor stores. You have to remember, people say, oh no, people don't buy that many nips.
That's a
But it's
lot.
not just the nip. It's the person in the store, they come in to buy the nip, they're going to buy a pack of cigarettes, a newspaper, maybe a six-pack
Vodka.
of beer or a bottle of wine. So you're sending all that business to all the surrounding towns. It's not just Kingston, but Kingston, Carver, Bourne,
Yeah.
Duxbury.
Passing
There's-
through, they'll
it's-
stop.
Yeah, everywhere. They're going to go to the surrounding towns. They're going to buy the nip, so they have to drive further. Then where they're coming? They're coming back to Plymouth. So they're still going to be coming through Plymouth. So you and if they in the habit of littering, they're going to continue to litter. So really, it's either that option or they're buying a bigger bottle and they're drinking more and they're still driving. So it's, they've done it, other towns that have put the ban in effect, Chelsea being one of them, saw this happen where the liquor stores in Chelsea, actually the owners of the stores sold the stores, moved to the neighboring towns, and saw up to 60% increase in their business in the neighboring town, while the stores they sold saw an equal decrease in their business.
Wow.
Kingston,
So,
Wow.
talk to the Kingston liquor store owners. A friend of mine was in there, and they were talking about it. They can't wait for this
Oh,
to go
yeah.
through.
With
They can't
bated
wait.
breath.
I was in a store in Plymouth. We were out doing signs and dropping stuff off, and
I like the sign,
yeah.
by the way.
yeah, and one of the owners told us, and I won't mention the store. He sells $100,000 in nips. $100,000. He's going to lose. He will lose $100,000 plus whatever other that goes with it. That's a lot of money. And everybody, the profit margin in liquor stores, everybody thinks, it's not what you think.
no.
It's not a big margin. So 100,000 loss to a liquor store, and again,
There's a lot of overhead.
It's a lot.
It's
a
going to
lot.
affect, you're going to have to lay off some of your staff. You're going to have to cut back.
Yeah.
I mean, if you face a
So there's
15 to 30%,
unemployment.
some stores that have a lot of walk-in traffic have more, some have less. But, another factor of it is this ban really affects the lower income and minorities. Not everybody has a opportunity to, or the money. A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck these days. And they can't afford a large bottle to go home
Right.
and portion it out over the week. Or they can't afford to go to a local restaurant and pay $10 or $15 for a drink. They want, they had a long day at work. They want to come home. They want to have a drink. For $1 or $2, they can have a drink right at the comfort of their house. This ban will be taking away the consumer's choice and the ability to do that.
Well, see, once they get their foot in, like they did with the plastic bags, it's very difficult for elderly to handle the paper bags.
Mhm.
And I use them for rubbish and whatever. Now, the next thing they wanted was the nips. What's next?
Yeah.
See, that should be a banner.
Fur has been banned in Plymouth.
Yeah,
You can't have fur in your store.
yeah.
So that's been, and plastic straws, whatever. But, and people, this impacts, Peter talks about, and I just mentioned about one store, $100,000. We got to remember that we have 16 stores this is going to affect. All these 16 stores, the majority are family owned. You have three generations.
Three generations.
Oh,
We've been
yeah.
serving Plymouth in the community for
Okay.
90 years.
Yeah. 90
And
years.
what goes with that responsibility? You're family owned. You support your family, but you also have employees that have families, and these are taxpayers, and that's who we're going to hurt. We're hurting our
Not
own.
only that, but all the local groups. We do a tremendous amount of fundraising and donations to different organizations. All of it, all the liquor stores do.
I know.
And we do a big fundraiser for the veterans every summer with a car show down in the plaza. And yeah, it's going, if we lose 15 to 30%, if all the stores lose that, there'll be a lot less donations made around town.
No,
They won't be able to afford to.
What's that?
We have a phone call.
Okay, great.
Hello, you're on
Hi.
Talk of the
Hi,
Town.
Karen. How you doing? Hi, Charlie.
Oh, hello.
Well, I just want to say I'm against this because it doesn't put Plymouth businesses on the same playing field as other towns. If it was a state
Get into that.
law and they did away with it, that would be one thing. I already know that retail is down 23%, and everyone is hurting, and that's retail, and that's including the package store owners.
Everyone.
And, if you listen to all the things that this is going to cure, it's not. I mean, I listen to some of these people, and it's like watching the old Westerns where the guy gets up there and he says, oh, I'm going to sell this. It cures this, this, and this. Well, it's going to cure alcoholism. It's going to cure drunk driving. It's going to stop pollution. It's going to stop littering. It's just all these things are not going to happen. And I think it's very unfair to the
Business.
liquor store owners because they have a short margin to make money. They have rent, they have salaries, they have taxes, and you're impeding their right to make a living.
Yeah,
It,
Steve,
it's
Yeah,
not
good way
fair.
of putting it.
that was a good,
It's not
good point,
fair.
Steve.
And you know, Karen, you know this woman. She's 82 years old, and she's against it because you know why? She goes, well, if I'm cooking and I need a recipe and I only need a couple of ounces of,
Right.
say, a brandy, I don't want to buy a whole bottle. I
That's
just
right.
want to buy a nip for my recipe.
That's
And
right.
you know, it's not like I said. It's just not fair. You know, it was the bags, and you know,
What's
like
next?
Charlie mentioned, straws, paper cups.
So,
You know, people aren't going to be able to stay in business. You know,
Yeah,
it's not fair. So
Charlie.
yeah, Steve, that's a good point I was going to get into. If it was a level playing field, then if everybody was banned from everybody, it would be a level playing field.
That's
And
correct.
we wouldn't be losing customers. But you got to ask yourself, everybody out there that's listening, if it's so detrimental, nips, to littering, to alcoholism, to drunk driving, why hasn't it been banned? And the gentleman who's, Mr. Stone, who's proposing this, for 23 years he's been trying to get it done. There's a reason why the state has not banned it, because it doesn't do what they say it's going to do. So ask yourself, there's 8 towns, I believe, 8 towns out of 351 towns in Plymouth and in Massachusetts that have this ban.
And they're suffering.
All of which are being
Right,
challenged.
so,
Yeah.
so you got, just use your common sense,
Oh.
because I can tell you this, if it would help alcoholism, if it would stop drunk driving, if it would stop littering, if it would do one of those 3 things, I would be against NIPS. But I'm going to tell you, I don't believe that it will do that.
Well,
And
if I could say one more thing, you
Sure.
know, what irritated me too was you had people getting up and criticizing Mr. Balboni and you know the other Packer store owners because they had a petition and they put it on the ballot, and this is a special election, you know, and they should have went to town meeting. That's bull. I mean, that's that's our democratic right. If you don't like something, you do something, and I give them credit for doing that.
Right.
I don't think
Thank
they
you.
should have had to go back to town meeting.
Right.
At town meeting, there was 20 people. The vote was close, and 20 members weren't even there.
Right, right.
So you know that's
Yeah,
their right.
and
And
Not to mention, we didn't have the liquor stores did not have the opportunity to present our side at that town meeting, which we
Yep.
were under the belief we would be able to, because we were there, we attended it, we sat there for 9 hours, 6 of us,
Who stopped you?
and
Just couldn't get up there.
they closed the debate before we could speak.
Well, see,
well, you know,
why would
should've-
you go
You should have
back?
been able to speak because the lobstermen were able to speak, the fishermen were able to speak. So I
Stevie.
don't see why
Yep.
you couldn't. You couldn't. You know, you should have been able to speak.
Stevie, you're a town meeting member.
Yep.
Here they turned them down, and they want them to go back to ask them on bended knee permission. Would you do it, Stevie? Did you find
hell
that
no.
ridiculous?
Hell no, I take the route that they took and get a petition. And you know, to get people, you know, that's a lot of signatures to get.
In a
You
short
know,
amount of time.
and they did it.
Steve, you were there at the meeting, the select board meeting, when Mr. Cirque came before us and made his statement, and he basically was attacking the citizens. He said it's the liquor industry, but it's not just, liquor industry is obviously concerned, but there's citizens, 1,840 that signed the petition and he said, it's very simple. For 10 signatures, you can go in April to town meeting and ask them to rescind their vote. But now you're costing the town $57,000. And I'm going to put that number out there right now. That's what it's going to cost.
That's right.
But according to our charter, they followed the democratic process. This is how you do it. And they did it. There's a lot of work to get those signatures.
Oh, tell me about
But
it.
so Mr. Cirque, who I have a lot of respect for, came out and attacked the process and
Yes, he
attacked.
did.
He was attacking citizens, as far as I'm concerned. And I told him, I said, I'm appalled that you would question our democratic process and tell, you know, talk about the 57,000. That is taxpayer money. These 1,840 people voted to have this election. This is the way it works.
And then you get people
and I
get up
said,
saying,
it doesn't make sense.
We're going to have to do away with two
Yeah.
teachers or, two teachers' aid. There's no money there for them anyway.
Yeah. But
And
anyway,
this is not the first special election that we had that's cost this amount of money.
Yeah.
So, they're just doing this to try to single out, the package store owners because they don't like what they're doing.
but his answer was to go back to town meeting. I just want to finish. And does that make any sense? It's ludicrous. So go back to the same
Body
group,
of people.
body
Yeah.
that initiated this ban, and you're going to ask them to rescind. It's not going to happen. What is going to happen, Steve? You're going to see the democratic process in action. You're going to see an election on January 13th, and I hope people come out and they can vote yes or they can vote no. Okay, but it's going not to 162 town meeting members. Actually, 20 or 30 didn't even show up. It's going to go to the town-wide, and people can voice their opinion by voting. And guess what? If they vote yes, the ban is in effect. We have to live with that. But I believe if everybody gets the information, looks into it, pays attention, and realizes the consequences of this ban, they will vote no in this election.
And Charlie, I'd like to add that it will cost the town a lot more than $57,000
You know how I'm going to vote.
in revenue.
Yes, thank you,
the town
Stevie.
All right, we'll talk to you
Thank
Thanks
later.
for the call,
dear.
Steve.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Say that again, Peter.
It will cost the town a lot more than $57,000 in loss of revenue.
That's
that
right.
If this ban goes through.
Taxes. Yeah,
Just in taxes and unemployment and layoffs and yeah.
right. It's a sin.
There's alternatives to this.
Tell me.
And that's, really, we should be focusing on alternatives. We currently do cleanups. There's room to expand that. There's room to educate people. There's room to put more trash bins out there. But really, one of the large things that we should be doing is putting pressure on elected officials at the state level to influence the recycling industry, who is not doing their part. Because the liquor industry has done everything to do their part. Nips are fully recyclable, and this is a lot of people don't, it's been put out there that you can't recycle a nip. They're made from #1 plastic. That's the most recyclable plastic in the world. So they are recyclable. And the problem is the industry, the recycling plants, is not recycling them, along with a lot of other things. Pill
Right.
containers, water bottles, all small containers. Here we are, I'm a beekeeper for 25 years. I have chickens, I grow my vegetables, I have solar on my house. I have the largest solar project, one of the first largest solar projects on Pioppi's package store. We bring in the cold air from the outside to cool the beer down in the winter. So I'm all for a cleaner Plymouth. I'm all for conservation, a cleaner Massachusetts, a cleaner world. But we got to look at alternatives. This ban will not help. And we got to, expand the bottle bill, do something statewide so that it's fair for everybody.
Right.
The bottle bill is well overdue to be expanded. And the technology is there. The recycling industry has the technology to recycle these bottles. They choose not to. Where is the state in this? They really should be focused on these industries and force them to comply and update their equipment to recycle this stuff.
They should recycle.
And the citizens, I have a problem because I've seen their presentation a couple times, and they're presenting that they're not recyclable, and because and they told that they talked about the plastic not being recyclable, but the real reason is, as Peter said, the recyclers don't. They have the equipment that falls through so get better equipment.
When I
to be
bring
able to do it.
mine to be recycled, I take the cap off and I put it in the machine, so the cap doesn't go with the bottle or the plastic.
Even on the nips, I'd say 90% of them, the caps are recyclable also.
Also, wow,
Yeah.
they
So-
should do it.
But we get the facts. They gotta present accurate facts, and they're not. They're not. They're putting numbers out there that I don't believe the
Well,
truth.
it's
Some
the
of the numbers they're
woke.
putting out
It's
there.
the woke crowd.
Yeah.
It's they take away.
If we wanted to do, I had a guy call me today, I told you earlier.
Yeah.
He picked 3 nips up in 3 miles. He put multiple cans, Bud Light, Coke cans,
Lottery
cups. Yeah,
tickets.
he saw where he was walking. 3 nips. So if I want to use that stat, which I'm not
Analogy.
going to do it, but
Yeah.
so that's 1 nip per mile. We have 400 miles of roads in Plymouth. So 400 nips.
Yeah.
Richard Serkey brought a bag in with 300. So that's really just a big
I
bag.
wonder
of
where
one-
he was.
You know, I don't know, but you know, you can't, because there's certain areas that do have them more than others. But I'm just saying, we have to focus on the littering, how it can. We need to solve littering, and whether it's stricter enforcement.
That's a problem,
It is a problem without
Charlie.
cameras and without.
Yeah.
It's a problem. Or we got to do a campaign. Why not get some money, some grant money? Maybe the liquor industry will help on this to promote littering, not to stop littering.
Actually, the liquor industry, we already have a website, Keep Mass Clean, and we sponsor cleanups throughout the state. The state.
So there's some ideas
already. Yeah.
you know, between advertising and doing cleanups, sponsoring that. That's how we can help that littering. As far as alcoholism, we have a lot of resource centers in town. There's resources out there to help alcoholics.
Yes.
We have a new Health and Human Service Director, Michelle Brady.
Yeah.
We're going to be working with the homeless and you know, a lot of them have substance abuse issues. And, you know, there's ways we can help with alcoholism that way. As far as drunk OUI, you know, that's the police, that's their department. And I looked into the OUIs stats. NIPs have exploded, right? The last, how many years? Last few years?
Last few years.
Yeah, the NIP industry is huge. It's big. Yet arrests, I talked to the chief today to get some stats. OUI arrests, it was 58 in 2019, when COVID, 2020.
Yeah.
Then there was 90 and 100 the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So when the restaurants and bars were closed and people were drinking in their cars, there had to be more drinking and driving
Going
then.
on, yeah.
There's only 58. Now it's up to 90 and 100 a year. Okay, and we're probably on target. I think we had 66 as of August, so we'll probably be around 100 again this year, unfortunately. But so, you know, it's the OUIs are coming out of restaurants and bars. They're
Yeah.
not coming out of people drinking in their cars. You know,
Right.
and again, somebody will say, well, they drank at restaurants and then they drank in their car, but so. You know,
Oh, you can drink enough at a restaurant to get
exactly.
loopy.
So, but it's not. It's so with the upswing in NIPS, the OUIs haven't really gone up. They haven't gone up that much. You know, because it's exploded in the last few years. So
Yeah, like
you can't
I said,
you
there's
can't blame OUIs on NIPS.
There's a lot of reasons for why people buy the nips, and it's not.
I like
the
the
majority
one.
of the people are
Yeah.
responsible about it.
Going away and you throw some in your bag for the hotel room.
Yeah.
The NIPS are, I can say, in the restaurant industry, I can tell you, I know I've talked to a lot of people. They're against it. But guess what? A lot of we find them at weddings and people are bringing them and they find them in the trash barrel. So it's happened in a lot of restaurants and bars because the drinks are so expensive.
Ah,
So so you think that they would be up in arms and say we're against it. But, well, we're for the ban, but they're not. The people I've talked to are against the
Reasonable.
ban. Because because it's the principle of there should be consumer choice. If you know,
Freedom.
you shouldn't
You
say
don't take the rights away from
Yeah.
many because of a few bad apples.
yeah.
that's
you
right.
know, so
Well, you know, it's just something you do. I go outside all the time, at least once a week. And I pick up from corner to my neighbor's house and sometimes beyond and across the street. Not that there's that much, but if I see one little thing, I'm out there. But I think, you know, so what? That's what you do.
yeah.
I mean, do you have pride in your town? Would you like that all to be deposited in your living room?
Another piece I want to get into is we our number one industry in Plymouth is tourism.
Mm,
Okay, we have people coming from all over,
yeah,
and as Peter said, they want to go in. They're at a hotel room, grab a couple nips for the room. The more bands that you have, the more it's going to impact
Rebel.
the whole economy, because people are going to say it's like we're not a friendly town, or there's all these bands that we have. It will have an effect on tourism. People don't realize that.
it's trickle
know?
down,
Yeah,
and people, I mean, they will lose their jobs
Yeah.
because the poor owner, I mean, he can't float. If he's making a small margin, and it's true, they make a small margin because their overhead is so large.
Everything keeps going up, electricity, everything.
Well, the
your
liquor
taxes,
you buy
every time something comes in, you have to check the price on it now.
That's right.
Ever since COVID happened, every single time you get a delivery, it's going up. So you always have to stay on top of that. But yeah, it's tough. We're lucky that, we're a family business. We've been established. We own our own building, but so many people
Don't.
of these other stores don't.
Right.
And you take that away, it affects their quality of life and the employees' quality of life.
Right.
Yeah.
and these store owners and their families are involved in
Yeah.
community.
Yes. What is? We know what you do, Charlie. You're all over the place. You're helping. What do you do, Peter?
Well, I run and manage the store. My grandparents started Pioppi's in 1933. We were the first liquor license in Plymouth after Prohibition.
Wow. That's
So that's
terrific.
pretty neat.
Yeah.
We're the only store that has been 90 years in the same family. And so after my grandparents, my parents ran the business, and then I joined in a few years after college, and have been running the place ever since. I'm on hands there. My wife works at the store. My daughter is now grown up, and she's a nurse in Florida, but my son is in college, and he works for me during the summers. We employ, everybody we employ is from Plymouth. They're everything from local, college kids during the summers, and a lot of part-timers with second jobs work for me.
right.
But yeah, we've
Very
have-
friendly. Very helpful.
yeah,
But your community, you've been involved in the community too.
We're involved with the community in all different ways. The veterans, post 1822,
Oh, sure.
we're big supporters of them. We do a huge car show every summer there. We raised $10,000 this summer
Wow.
with the help of Sazerac, which is one of the largest nip suppliers. Without their help, we couldn't have raised the $10,000 for them.
The veterans.
Yeah, for the veterans. And, I'm a member of the Pilgrim Society. I sit on their board. The Plymouth Public Library, we do their largest fundraiser every year. We just helped them raise $48,000 at the
That's
Taste of the Town.
wonderful. Taste of the Town.
Yeah, so
That's
very
there's many different organizations that we're involved with, and we're happy to be involved with and help the community.
And you have a catering business too.
We used to have A-plus Party Rental, but after COVID, we couldn't find any help
yeah.
to run it anymore, so
Yeah.
we sold that off.
And nobody was doing it.
Yeah. So
That was a good point you brought about Sazerac. In the restaurant, liquor industry, food industry, we're involved. At East Bay as a manager there for 22 years.
I know.
Uh,
You were great too.
You put, Paul, one of the most generous guys I know, and
They're doing the bar over now.
yeah, it's going to be open January 5th. It's going to be beautiful. East Bay, it'll be beautiful. But Paul, I'd go to Paul, and we get this. Never, what do you need? What do you need? But we'd do things like our vendors were our partners. If we can go to, I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to put the, put the pressure on them. People might, but there's certain vendors out there that are very generous.
I'm sure.
And in the food industry too, if we started, I remember the road race. the road race, for example, for Matt, it's Maycomer when he lost his son, 8-month-old son.
Oh, yes.
It was
The
tragic.
policeman.
Yeah, it was tragic. But we did for 11 years. Paul gave them the whole outside. Okay, they had a road race, and then we would do hot dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, chicken, salads, and I had Quintal out there who was one of the grill guys, and Billy Hallis,
Dickie.
Mike, the chief of police one time. But we did that for
Terry.
11 years. So the food, we went to our vendors.
Yeah.
Agar was a big supporter.
Oh, yeah.
And they would give us, we could get the products from them. They would donate, and they were very helpful to us. And we'd go to the outside, but that was helpful. We did it for years. We had a police officer that got killed on a motorcycle, Greg, and Paul went to me and said,
That was tragic.
reach out to them.
Yeah.
We sent the crew over, and a lot of people don't know this, but we fed a couple thousand people that day, and Paul took care of everything. It was on Paul Barbeta from East Bay. But people don't know about that stuff. The liquor stores, the restaurants are the most generous people in this community.
They're hard
And-
workers, and
that's
they know
and
what
we
it
go to
is.
them. There's a Christmas fund that he just gave me a check for. Dickie Quintal's got his Christmas wish list.
Oh,
And
sure.
they're short some money. And if anybody out there wants to donate, it's a great cause. There are 425 kids have a wish list. So Peter said, yeah, what do you need? And he gave a check. And
Oh,
so
thank
it's
you, Peter.
but it's things like that why do we want to hurt a guy like this? Why don't we want to hit any of these businesses?
Mom and pops.
Yeah. So, and again, I keep the 3 issues they said, and it's not going to do
Ridiculous.
what they said,
Right.
but it's going to hurt our small businesses.
Our people, it's
They're going
going
to
to
go
hurt.
to communities next door. Why are we sending commercial tax revenue money
Out of
next
town.
door?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Bans don't work.
Yeah.
You just ask the chief of police on 4th of July if the ban on fireworks works.
Oh, never.
Okay? So they don't work.
That's a good point.
People go to New Hampshire,
Yep.
Rhode Island to buy their flavored vape cigarettes, their
Yep.
menthol or cartridges, and then their menthol cigarettes and their fireworks. They go to the surrounding states. They're certainly going to go to Duxbury, Kingston, Carver just to buy their nibs
Absolutely.
or further away. The state will be losing out on tax revenue, or the town especially. But it doesn't work, and
Well, maybe if they realize, the state realizes that this is happening in other towns, that certain groups want this to happen, maybe they will allow recyclable.
well, I hope so. Yeah, that would solve everything. We recycle over 650,000 cans and bottles a year,
I am sure.
and so don't all the rest of the
Yeah.
times that by 16.
I think Luke's is
So-
like 750.
Yeah, they do more than us.
Crazy.
So, if you put a nickel or even a dime on them, whatever they decide, but people will pick them up. People pick them up
Hey,
now.
yes,
It
they
worked for
will
the
pick 'em up.
It worked for the cans and bottles.
Yeah.
So it would certainly work for the nips. The technology is out there. They say, oh, they can't do it. They can do it. Believe me, we send men to the moon, so
Yeah.
we can recycle
machine
nips.
with a little-
all you got to do is make the hole on the machine smaller.
Yeah.
All our empties go into machines, and they get crushed.
Right.
And then it goes. So if it went into a machine and got crushed, they'd be recycling it.
That's right.
So
Let's
Yeah,
do
it's,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't need a ban. Let's find alternative solutions to
So
those
how
issues.
is it going? You've got all the 16 stores.
Yes, we have great support from all the stores are behind us. We've all contributed to the fund to try to stop this ban. And we're very active. We have an active
Very
committee,
organized. Very
two
organized.
committees,
Yep.
very organized.
Good.
Signage, there's signage out there, and people are going to see that and say, what is this? Well, they're going to get some mailings. We're going to send informational
Well,
mailings
I
out.
got it on my phone. I got information on my phone. Was it yesterday or the day
I sent
before?
it to you. Yep.
You did?
It was from Peter. But there's a
I loved it.
we're going to send informational mailings. We have, I believe we're going to probably do 4. You're not going to
That's-
get 4. Some people are going to get 2, others 2.
Yeah.
No, but this is informational, and that's what I want people to read,
Understand and
and
read
look
it.
into it.
Yeah.
You know, don't just listen to what you hear them. Look into it, okay? Because when you listen to the proponents, all the things they say, they're just simply not true. They're not factual. But one thing that is factual is why Peter's here today and why I'm here. It's going to hurt our small businesses, and that's the truth. So
We can't have that.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
I'm very pro-business. I'm pro Jane and Joe Smith too, you know, in their homes and, you know, for real estate and their taxes and all that. But I'm also very pro-business. I always have been. Because without you, it would be 10 times worse.
Taxes go up. Our residential taxes will go up if we lose commercial tax revenue.
10 times worse, maybe even more.
Yeah.
We couldn't sustain it. That's why we need economic development,
Yes,
Charlie.
and we're working on it. That's town manager Derek Brindisi.
I love him.
He's working hard. Steve Cole, the foundation.
Yes, him
They're
too.
working together on some projects.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to see, you know, in the next few years. I hope I'm around enough to see some of these projects that we want to get done. You know,
Yeah.
so
It
you know,
has to.
yeah, you know, we're working on some tourism issues, the cruise lines. We're working on an agreement with them to bring the cruise ships in. That's going to help tourism. It's going to help the businesses. You know, just what we're talking about with NIPS and everything else. And
That's why I never understand, you know, people who are negative, who say, you know, they don't want this or that, or, you know, they live in their own little bubble behind a tree somewhere. I don't know. It's just not doable.
I'll tell you one issue that I was involved in. I wasn't a selectman, but as a restaurant manager in 2002, I believe it was our second year. And the owners installed a $45,000 smoke ventilation system.
2002.
So we opened in 2000.
Yeah.
So 18 months later, there's no smoking in Plymouth.
Right.
And we were against it for one reason. I don't smoke.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's going to hurt business.
Yeah.
And we were against it. And what happened is at town meeting, we were all there, and they just at the last minute, they were going to vote against it. Then they were going to vote against banning smoking till they made an amendment that
I was there.
the private clubs are excluded.
Yeah.
So they voted for it. Town meeting voted to, but it was okay in the private clubs.
Yeah.
But not. It was the most. That's when I really lost a lot of faith in town meeting. But
Yeah.
so I was against it completely. And for me as an employee, it was.
You thought you were going to lose.
It was going to be healthier for me.
Yeah.
It was going to be. But people that smoke want to smoke. So until it was a level playing field, a year later, they banned it in all the towns. At that point, it was great. It was one of the greatest bans ever, smoking. But at the time, it was anti-business. I was against it.
That's right, because it singled a town
But the
out.
difference on that ban, the way it passed, is because it was a health issue. Smoke will kill people. Whether you smoke or not, if you're in the environment, the secondhand smoke will kill people. Nips are not going to, buying nips is not going to kill people. People are going to say, yeah, somebody drinks and drives, they might kill somebody, but it's not because there's nips being sold. It's because somebody
Is
abused
and
irresponsible.
they're just drinking.
So
Yeah.
we need to work on resources to curb, help the alcoholism, and
We do have things in town,
we
though.
got a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the AA community is big. There's resource centers. It's a very active community for that, so it's good.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm so glad that the town came together for this, all the establishments and the restaurants. And I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. Because if I thought that something would help, I would be for that thing. But this will not. It just will hurt businesses. and people, their paychecks, because they'll be let go.
Yeah, and you don't get anything out of it. You don't get a cleaner Plymouth.
No.
No, and you don't get people drinking less. If anything, you get people drinking more.
Yeah, you notice during COVID, they kept the liquor stores open.
There's a reason.
Yeah,
We're essential.
and because people needed something.
That's a good point, too.
That comes back right back to
Yeah.
that self-portioning
Yeah,
and controlling what they drink.
they couldn't go out. They couldn't even go to the beach.
They
Give
could-
me a break.
When we were doing to-go, restaurants could only do to-go.
Yep,
People would sit in the parking lot
yep.
with drink in the parking lot. Okay?
That was their night out.
Yeah. So there was drinking in cars and, you
Yeah.
know,
And
okay.
eating and drinking.
Yeah.
I mean, people went crazy.
Yeah.
People, it affected me, and I was sick at the time. And I couldn't get any help, not with COVID. And I understood exactly why things were open, liquor stores were open. And they needed something. They brought it home. What did they have? They had nothing.
Well, they also kept us open so the hospitals wouldn't be overrun.
Ah,
How could you-
tell
yes.
me.
Yeah.
Go
That's
ahead.
why we were open.
It's
because
like, can you imagine banning cigarettes?
If you have,
Oh.
you know, hundreds of
Right.
people stop drinking overnight,
Addiction.
you would have serious backlog at the hospital.
I never thought of that,
Yes.
Peter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
the addiction.
So, yeah, so, you know, we have people that come in and they buy one nip or two nips and that's it. And they're done for the day. They go home after work.
Yeah.
They drink them at their house. They have 2 drinks and they come in the next day, every day like clockwork. You know, not everybody abuses it. Just a very few that are making it, you know, and then they're telling the consumer, or the majority of the consumers, you can't have that because a few people ruined it. That's just not right.
That's
And
everything.
then two words. What's next?
Yeah.
What's next?
What is next? That's what people are frustrated when you say about it. You know, what do you think of it? And they said, what's next?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
I've heard that what's next, you know, it's probably what we should be saying on the sign, what's next?
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Did you see my thing on Facebook? I said, let's nip it in the
Yeah.
the bud.
But-
But
But, you know, I want to get this out here. I respect the people that are proposing this because they believe in their minds. They believe like we believe, but they believe that this is going to do what they're saying. We believe it's not going to, okay? So it's up to the citizens. I'm glad it's going to a vote to take a look at everything, look at both sides, and come up with, you know, how you feel. And I think if you look at all the information and you realize the ramifications of this ban and what it's going to do with businesses, but not just, it's their families and tourism, you know, it's going to have a ripple
a
effect.
big
Yeah.
impact.
Your taxes, so, and then vote. I believe you'll vote no if you really look into it. By voting no is not saying that you know, you're not, you know, you're supporting drunk driving or you're not.
Charlie, innately, you know automatically that what they're saying just doesn't make sense. People aren't, you know, naive on this subject.
No.
They hear it and they go, oh really? Why? That doesn't make sense. That's what I'm hearing.
We got those 1,800 plus signatures. We actually got many more than that, but those were the ones that qualified.
Needed.
And we got those in less than 5 days.
Wow.
And people, if we had more time, we could have got 10,000.
More.
And I want to stress another thing. That it's costing the town $57,000. That's one thing Mr. Cirque brought that up. Like it's a bad thing. This is our democratic process in action.
You
This is
think
what-
he'd be for it?
And that's why I told him I was appalled that you were questioning democracy, But this is our democratic process in place. This is why our charter was started for this, just for this type of situation, okay? And
People in this town have a right
They have a
to
right.
bring things forward. A lot of places don't have that.
And we have 162 town meeting. It was we lost by 5 votes.
Oh, so close.
Okay, and I believe, first of all, there was 20 or 30 members that didn't show up, and I'm
That's
again,
embarrassing,
and
Charlie.
again, there's a lot of these. I think some of these town meeting members, and I'm not saying all, but get influenced by certain people, and also I don't believe. And I'm not talking all town meetings. Somebody's going to misquote me, but some of them. They don't pay attention. They don't read into things. They just vote, for different reasons. They're not prepared. Okay, and I wish that was different. But that's how it's been. I was on town meeting for 7 years, and I just saw some real questionable voting.
I did too.
It just didn't make sense.
I went to many of the caucus meetings, and I was surprised how few people were at them.
Yeah.
A few
Really,
members.
it's changed that much,
Yeah.
Charlie?
People, who it's the sad thing is the way the turnouts are for these elections. If the 1,800 people show up that sign the petition, this will win easily. Just because of those 1,800. I'm looking for a big vote because
Yeah.
I want to. I'm hoping.
You want a
to get,
mandate?
I'm hoping to get a statement from the citizens that enough's enough. Okay, enough's enough. As we said, community, it's a consumer choice, okay? Don't tell me I can't buy a nip. If I want to, I should have that choice. It's legal, okay? And why should I have to drive to another town to get it? If I want it, I should be able to buy it in my town.
That's a
And
question.
responsibly drink it.
Re-
And throw it in a trash barrel or recycle it, okay? Not everybody that buys nips throws them out the window.
No.
And that's...
Like I said, a very small minority.
I bought 2 nips in my life years and years ago. We were going on a trip. I put it in my bag. We were flying somewhere. And I just thought it would be a good thing to have because I didn't know the area. It was out of the country. So, I mean, I know people do this.
Sure.
I was in a small store, one of the smallest package stores in Plymouth,
In Plymouth.
in Manomet.
Uh,
The proprietor is there all the time. He's been there for 50 years that I know,
oh, God bless
since I
him.
was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I had a nice conversation. He's a great person. He's been there for.
I know.
Yeah.
He's
So
a
he told
lovely
me He
person.
looked up, and his wife is right across the street
Yeah.
as a business. And he said, "Charlie, look at my nips that I sell. He's got some fancy, these are stuff you're not throwing out the window."
Oh,
He said,
they're
if this band goes through,
keepers.
he's got some real high-end stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He's a small store, but that's what he sells for nips. He sells other ones too, but he said, I won't be able to sell this. People come here for these, and I won't be able to sell them. It's going to hurt this guy, okay?
Because he's really small.
It's going to hurt his business,
Yeah.
and I'm going to tell you, it's a great person, great family, and like I said, I'm not a teenager. I was 18. Let's get it. I was legal when I went in there, but I
Yeah.
went and I'm going to be 67 next month. So
Oh, wow.
that's how long he's been. He's there. I've never been there and not seen him,
Yeah.
and it's going to hurt this guy.
Yeah,
know?
a lot of people do buy them also just to try something before investing in a big bottle,
But these are
especially
the-
if it's an
yeah.
expensive thing.
These are the stories. So I welcome anybody out there that's watching. Go into your local liquor store. If you buy alcohol, liquor, beer, go in and ask them about this, and you're going to find out the effect on them. But do your homework before you vote. And if you do, I believe you're going to vote no. There's no question.
Well, I was just in and I spent $134 for Christmas.
Yeah.
But by myself, a bottle of vodka might last a year. But I'm having people over.
Yeah.
And you do this. You buy the wine, the vodka, the whiskey. You know, when my husband was alive, it was the scotch.
And if you wanted nips, if you're a nip person and you're going to buy all that at another store in Bourne or in Kingston.
But if I'm going to go to Bourne to buy my nips,
You're gonna
that's
buy
where
all
I'm
the
going to
alcohol,
buy all the
everything.
You're not going to
stuff.
make 2 stops.
Yeah.
That's the point we're making.
Yeah.
It's so.
And
like I
they're
said,
waiting with bated breath.
Yep.
How s-
Yeah, there's other ways. There's other ways with the littering we can help. With all those issues, we can help.
Well, the police can't do it, Charlie, because they're so
Yeah.
busy doing everything else. But maybe a form of some other,
I just say some kind of a campaign against littering,
Yeah.
whether it's cleanups. I know they do it now, and I see them all the time. They do a great job, and I respect
yeah,
what they do.
they
But-
really do.
And they do find nips, but I'm going to tell you, they showed a bag one time of, they said nips, and it was, I saw pints in there, I saw half pints in there, I saw, other things.
I
in there.
just can't believe, I mean, what was it? Behind a distillery?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know where you find 14,000 nips.
Yeah.
I don't
but
know
it wasn't all nips. But again, there is nips out there on the
There is,
ground.
yeah.
But there's also
But
other
there's
things
paper,
out there.
there's
So,
lottery tickets, as mentioned earlier, there's all kinds of trash. You can't just select one item out of the many and penalize that industry.
Right.
You know, when we're trying to do, as mentioned, we're trying to do everything we can. They're recyclable.
And
They're
the
fully recyclable.
the state will not make a statewide ban. You know why? Because it brings in revenue.
yeah.
Sure does.
But they have to put the pressure on the recyclers to
Recycle.
make
Yep,
sure they're
that's,
recyclable.
that's where
So,
we should all be calling them and asking them to reach out to the recycling industry and
yeah.
put pressure on it. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
Well, maybe you get a campaign going, Charlie, a letter writing campaign.
I would like to see some grant money used on a litter campaign. Some cleanups.
Set aside.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
mentioned, the liquor industry does quite a bit of that already too, and they would do more. They'd be glad
We'll
to
speak
be
about
involved.
that, because that's
in the community,
important.
and they had one a couple months ago in Plymouth. So,
Yeah. No, we'll get this done.
And I don't know, I know we're getting out of time, but I'm here on principle.
Charlie, you are a brave
It doesn't
man.
affect me financial. I'm here on principle.
You always stick up for what's right, even if, no matter what, you're not what's called a political whore. So I appreciate you and what you do.
And I love the job. I will
And
say that
I know you do.
I love being
I love you.
representing the town of Plymouth.
Thank you, Peter.
So-
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
us.
Thanks, everybody. I will see you, let's say, middle of January. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Stay safe.